Hi all, welcome to the section of Data Warehousing Informatica.
So when you look at this diagram, so this has sources in the left side. So that's the RDBMS, flat file, SCPPA or other sources. So it can accept any kinds of sources. On these sources, we are going to apply our ETL. On these sources, we are going to apply our ETL. So we do have a different kinds of ETL tools like Informatica, Data Stage, Data Manager, SSIS, ODI, Oracle Warehouse Builder, Ab Initio, and many more. So when you say ETL, it's an extraction, transform, and load. Extract the data from the source, apply some business rules, and load it to the target. So for now, the target is ODS. ODS is nothing but operational data store, where you can just store the current data. And again, so from the ODS to the data warehouse, this is my data warehouse, which is a collection of data marts. Data marts are nothing but metadata. Metadata is a data about a data. So we do have a different domains like sales, marketing, budgeting, and teleconferencing, healthcare, many more. So from ODS to the data warehouse, also we apply ETL to transform data from ODS to the data warehouse. And it depends on the companies. There can be something like different stages. For example, we get the data that is source. It may be a flat file, or it can be a table, or it can be a query also. From here, we might load it to the landing. So we just take the data from the source and we load it to the landing stage. Okay, landing is one particular stage, just like we have ODS and the data warehouse. I'm just telling you the real time the stages which we will get it in Informatica. From source to the landing, so we are going to apply our basic rules like LTRIM, RTRIM, and LPAD, RPAD. And after that, we will create a mapping to load from landing to the stage 1. Staging area. So where you are going to apply your main logics. It can be anything. So based on the requirement, you are going to apply from landing to stage 1. From stage 1 to stage 2, there can be another logic with maybe a partition or truncate. Any kinds of logic will be applied here. The stage 2 is the final stage, and this is my target. So there can be these many stages will be available in any of the projects. So here I've been telling you about the basic architecture of data warehouse. So that can be like when you talk about source will be this RDBMS and flat files and BI, and target will be my data warehouse. From here, they are going to use it for the reporting purpose. Once the data gets loaded to the data warehouse, from here we will have a metadata modeling in between the reporting and the data warehouse. So here the metadata modeling tools like Framework Manager is for Cognos. We do have a different metadata modeling tools like Framework Manager, Universe, Oracle Administrator, and many more. So here we are going to create our model based on the reporting requirements. Once we create the model, and we will publish to the particular reporting connection. So we do have a reporting tools like Cognos, Business Objects, OBIE, SSRS, ClickView, Tableau, Spotfire, MicroStrategy, these kind. So where with the one reporting tool, you can do reporting, analyzing, querying, and data mining. So this is just a workflow of your data warehouse. Okay, just I wanted to tell you this, that's it. So like what happens once the data gets created to the data warehouse. So as a ETL developer or ETL consultant, so what we do, we load the data from one area to the other area. It's kind of one stage to the other stage. Okay, and let's next move on to the ETL part. So this diagram shows the architecture of Informatica. So we do have a sources and we do have a target, and in between we have repository services and the integration services. So once the Informatica is got installed, we are going to create the repository services which will copy all the Informatica tables into this repository database. It's just a table structure. Uh, it's not from the source. So this is something like a separate database repository where all the Informatica table structure will be copied. See, at the time of running your mapping or a workflow, anything, it supports. Okay. And then we will create the integration services, which is our main server. It means it is the execution part of your Informatica. And these integration services and repository services are called as node. Node, and number of nodes we call it as domain. So we get the data from the sources and it goes to the integration services. It does some operations and load it to the target. And these are all connected through native drivers or a TCP/IP connection. And then we will have, this is the server, so this much will come under a server, and then we will have a client. This is the client. Here we will have 4 windows. One is a repository manager, designer, workflow manager, and workflow monitor. Okay, so here once you create the repository services in your Informatica server, so same repository services you are going to add it in the client and you will give the connection information. Just you are making a connection between the server and client. And then you are going to create a work folder under repository manager to work on. Like work folder, nothing but your project name, main project name. Once the project name is created, so we will not touch the repository manager. We will go to the designer. In designer, you are going to develop your mapping, like what will be your source, what will be your target, and what kind of transformation you will apply. So that's source. Target. And in between you will have a transformations. So these transformations, how are you going to apply? For example, based on the requirement, you will apply here. So from source to the transformation and target. So in applying our transformations, we will have multiple transformations kind expression, source qualifier, router, joiner. In the same way, we will have around 25 to 30 transformations in Informatica. So based on the requirement, we are going to choose these things. For example, expression, where there is any calculation comes into picture. So we will go for expression. Router, we will get one source but the multiple targets. So that time we'll go router. Joiner, it's something like multiple inputs but only one output. Update strategy, based on the data in the target, we want to update the information. So whether I want to update, I want to insert, I want to delete, I want to reject, you can do it. Lookup, just look the data in the other table and get some match and pass it to the target. So like this, we will have multiple transformation which we are going to design it in our designer.
Okay, the designer will have the source, so it can be anything like a flat file or a database, and in between we are going to use transformations. So as we have mentioned it here, so those transformations will be mentioned over here. Then we will have a target. So here we are going to design based on the customer requirement. The same design we will run in the workflow manager. There are minimum things to run this design is to create one workflow and to create the task. There are different types of tasks like session, command, time task, email task, and some more. So once we create this workflow on the task, we have to give the connection details in the task. For example, in a session, we have to tell which is the source and which is the target. It means from where the data you're getting, you're doing some transformations, and where you're going to load the data. That information you have to give it in the session details. Once you have given these two, and you can run the workflow, and you can see the information like whether it has ran or succeeded, failed. If it is failed, what is the reason to fail? So we can see the workflow logs as well as the session logs in the workflow monitor. That's it. Thanks for watching this video. Thank you. For more information, you contact this address. Have a nice day.